Hello and welcome to another episode of the Thrive in 5 podcast. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. The last couple of days have been talking about balance and how tough it feels for most professional women. Because when you're trying to juggle work, family, your health, your personal life, dieting, being a functioning adult, doing your ironing, cleaning the house, whatever it is, it feels like you don't have enough hours in the day. And as I said in yesterday's episode, even when I had more hours in the day, I still couldn't do everything because time isn't the issue. It's how you're approaching that time and how you're using that time that's the real challenge. And what I wanted to do today was go through a little coaching exercise that I run with clients, a question that we ask in order to make sure that you can find balance, that you can feel in control and you can feel less overwhelmed. This episode is obviously coming to you on a Friday. So what you're going to do is use this to think ahead to next week. So at the end of next week, how will you know that you've had a successful week? What will you see, feel, or experience that lets you know that you were focused and moved in the right direction? That is the question. At the end of next week, how will I know that this week was successful? What will I see, feel, or experience that lets me know I was focused and that I moved in the right direction? Now, let me explain why this question is a little bit different. What I'm not asking you to do is choose a priority or a focus, because that isn't specific enough. Rather than doing that, we're going to get really specific and visualize what success looks like for you at the end of the week. Visualization is a bit one of those things that when someone first did this with me, I was like, this is so woo-woo and weird. I'm a massive cynic. I was like, visualizing something, what the hell is that going to achieve? This is something that like Olympic athletes, the most successful people in the world do this because it helps you to be able to figure out how you're going to approach things. When you visualize success, it becomes concrete and it becomes achievable rather than another abstract thing you've written on your to-do list that you will never do. How many times do you write on your to-do list that you're going to do X, Y, Z and then it doesn't get done? How many things have you got on your to-do list that you've just pushed on from day to day till it's like 3 weeks later and it's still on your to-do list? Because that's what I do every week if I'm not careful. Doing this, visualizing success, it stops success becoming that thing that gets pushed along and it becomes the thing you actually do. So what you're going to do, if it's safe to do so, don't do this if you're driving, take a moment to close your eyes, or if you can't close your eyes, just take a moment just to reflect. Imagine it's the end of next week and you're looking back at what you've accomplished. What do you see? Maybe it's a clean desk and a completed work project. Maybe you're looking at your calendar and being like, wow, I managed my time brilliantly this week. Maybe your inbox is empty. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe you're looking back and you're seeing yourself in your gym kit having just done a workout, feeling really great about yourself. Maybe you're looking at a fridge that is empty because you've eaten all of the nutritious food that you bought. When you look back at this week, what do you hear? What conversations stand out? Maybe it's a thanks from a colleague for finishing that project, or the laughter of your family because you actually spent time with them. Maybe it's the feeling of quiet satisfaction knowing you took care of yourself, even if it was just for a few minutes. Maybe it is the sound of clinking glasses because you went out for a date night and you really enjoyed it. Maybe it's the sound of weights crashing up and down in the gym because you absolutely smashed a workout. And what do you feel? Emotionally, at the end of this week, how are you feeling? Are you feeling proud for sticking to your goals? Relieved because you hit that work deadline? Connected because you were present with your loved ones? Physically, are you feeling energized, rested, and like your body is being well cared for? Or are you feeling sluggish, low? Once you visualize what success looks like, now it's time to decide on one thing you need to focus on to make that happen. Thinking back to that visualization you just did, what stuck out to you? What was the thing that stuck out that makes you know what your focus is? So for me, if I'm sitting here on this Friday thinking about what next week's going to look like, the thing that stands out to me is work productivity. I've got a lot of work on at the moment. I've got a lot of things to do. And that's the thing that I want to think about when I look back at the week. I want to be looking at my office. I'm sitting at the chair now. Is my desk clean? I want to be looking at to-do lists that I've crossed off every single day. I want to be looking at a couple of key deliverables and projects that I've got out. I want to be looking at emails that I've sent that have been productive and sent and have got me what I need to. The conversations that I want to stand out are the great chats I've had with clients. The feelings I want to have is a feeling of pride and a feeling of contentment and satisfaction. So that tells me that my focus this week has to be some of the work projects that I've got going on. I'm not going to bore you with them because you don't want to know, but it has to be some of those work projects. But you might be looking back at the week and the thing that stands out is actually your health and fitness. That was the thing that in answer to all those questions, it was the sound of the gym you wanted to remember. You were feeling physically tired because you trained. So that tells me that a workout is the important thing for you. Have a think about what that one thing is, that one action you want to take. Maybe it is finishing that work project. Maybe it is scheduling in a workout. Maybe it is prioritizing a date night or booking some time to call your best friend. But the key here is focusing on just one thing, not a long list of tasks. It's funny, when I do this exercise with clients, what will often come up is we'll go through this and we'll talk through the answers. And they'll be like, yeah, so I've got these 3 things. I want to make sure that I've done this and done that and done that and done that. Those things can happen. We can get those things done. But the focus, our goal is one thing, not that long list of tasks. Because when we try to do lots of different things, we end up spreading ourselves too thin. Jack of all trades and master of none, as they say. Choose the one thing that will make the biggest difference in your week. It doesn't mean the other stuff isn't important. It just means that one thing becomes the thing that we focus on here. Because once you've decided on that one thing, you have to make your schedule reflect it. So for me, work is my focus next week. I have a couple of social bits on that I have to do that are already scheduled in, but I will be adjusting my schedule around that. I'm actually going to dial down some health and fitness bits next week. I'm probably going to move some bits around in order to make sure that I can do the work stuff that I need to do. But if your focus is health, maybe you decide that you don't go to your usual Thursday night pub trip and instead you go to the gym. If your focus is a date night, let's get that date booked. Let's make sure that we go on it. The key is to align your actions with that one thing. Once you know what success looks like for you, it's so much easier to prioritize what you need to do to get there. As I say, it doesn't mean the other stuff doesn't matter. Just because you're scheduling a date night doesn't mean you don't also do your job. Obviously, work still matters. But it's making sure that you're being intentional, that one thing is scheduled in and becomes the focus of the week. The other stuff can still happen. Just because you're focusing on one thing doesn't mean the other stuff gets forgotten. And then what we're going to do is at the end of next week, this time next week, you're going to reflect on how things went. You're going to ask yourself, did I achieve the success that I visualized? What worked well this week? And what would I do differently next time? Because it's not about doing everything. It's about making progress in a way that is sustainable, that you can actually keep doing. It's about making one small focused goal that aligns with your values and then working towards that goal. And then what you can do each week is do the same exercise. Go back and visualize what success looks like for the following week and the following week. And you keep doing that. And some weeks work will be the focus and the success. Some months that will be the case. But other months it might be personal stuff. Other months it might be health and fitness stuff. I have a client right now who is about to enter into a little sort of 8 weeks real focus on her fat loss. It doesn't mean that other things aren't going to happen. She's still going to go to work. But it just means that we're being a bit more intentional around her fat loss, and that becomes the focus for the next couple of weeks. So take a moment today on this Friday and ask yourself what success looks like in 7 days' time. Visualize what that success looks like and let's set the intention to go and make that happen.